Hello everyone and welcome back to Path of Radiance Hard Mode Draft. It is time for Chapter 10, and this was one of the hardest chapters in the run to plan, due to the fact that I wanted, there's a, for those of you who don't know, this chapter is pretty misleading in that it's, if you don't read the base conversations and the pre-chapter dialogue, it's brought up as a stealth chapter, and that's the way I believe it was intended to be played, or at least that was the main objective of it. And many people have no concept of how that works. If you open, I believe if you hit the doors with the weapon, if you break them, or be coming into the movement range of any of the three soldiers who do follow a set pattern, they won't, they have no idea of your presence. The AI is unaware of your presence unless you get within the movement range of them, and that was the hardest part. I wish I could have done it a little bit faster, but I also did need to recruit Kieran and rescue Brahm to ensure that I could still receive the bonus experience, which for me would have probably been more useful, and it was more useful than any combat experience this chapter would have yielded. So I was willing to take the 2 or 3 turn hit, because I believe Alex fought his way through in 8 turns, and I bonus experienced my way in 10 turns. So this was definitely the hardest to plan. It took multiple attempts, and it took me a while to realize, just to get to have proper unit positioning on every turn. And I don't think it'll be possible to do this if you're trying to recruit Kieran and have Oscar as well within 10 turns. If you're trying to, at that point, I would just suggest to not go for this. It will be really hard to do without penalty, and thankfully Reese has no point here, so it's just free experience for him with the ward staff, which is cool. And the hardest thing for me to realize, or it took the longest to realize, was that I still had access to Titania to rescue Brahm, because that was my main point. I could get Volk to the chest, or to the door, within 5 turns, and I believe I do it on this turn, and he opens the door, which was hard, because I eventually had to drop him with Oscar to have him get to that door, and then he would be unable to get out of the movement range, or at least Brahm would. And I realize now that I could use Titania to rescue Brahm, as undrafted units are able to rescue each other. So that was definitely cool. And having Smite Mordecai, I believe, was the only reason I was able to do this so quickly, with all that I had. So if you think about it, I didn't get the best turn count for this in terms of everyone else, but I did make the most efficient choice for myself. And I did get it pretty much as fast as possible with what the tools I had. So all in all, I was very impressed with my own performance on this. So if I have bragging rights, I would pin it down on actually managing to do this chapter with some speed and some efficiency here. So it's mostly due to my perfect unit choices. Not that I really planned on doing this when I first started, but it just happened to work out that I had practically the perfect tools to do it as fast as possible within the means of the draft. So that was cool. It definitely felt good. After a while, after like 9 or so attempts, I just began realizing if I was going to be able to do it, or if I was going to be able to do it, it would take far too long to do it efficiently. And at that point, the bonus experience would have outweighed its usefulness to me, in that I needed to drop my turn count a little bit. Thankfully, I chose the one square directly outside of my movement range that wouldn't have Oscar be found. And I actually thought of just having Reese get to that little bit of experience needed and just bonus experience him for reset abuse, but he honestly isn't a very important combat unit for me, so I didn't need, his level up honestly didn't matter that much. He's going to be healing, and he's always a good healer, so there's no reason for me to, stress over it that much more. Yeah, something important you need to realize: you can trade within your rescued unit, and I know it seems like common sense, but a lot of people would probably forget that, and something like that can be very useful in a run like this, because I didn't have the Armor Slayer equipped, or In terms of having savior, you can have the rescued unit, because if they're going to be rescued for most of the chapter, can actually carry weapons for the other person and switch off as needed, which was useful for me, I believe, in chapter 28, especially. Tanith was running out of weapons, at least the weapons that would guarantee her one-rounding people. So this was actually a mistake. I could have done the chapter in 9 turns if I really wanted to. I could have done it, unless this is turn 9, I can't remember. Yes, I was unable to do it as fast as I had intended, just for the sake of trying to kill the boss. Now, I know originally doing this run, if I didn't kill the boss, I would have taken the extra turn to do so for the Master Seal, but honestly, it didn't really matter much at all, because I only used 1 Master Seal within the course of the game, that which being used on Reese in chapter 15, before that, possibly, but I did use it, and he was the only person I used it on, and you get 2 within the next chapters, being 10 and 11, from the bosses, respectively, so it wasn't that big of a deal. If like I said, if it came down to it, in the first run, I probably would have done it without a second thought, and that I would need a Master Seal, because my original plan was to just ram Liana to 10 or 15 bonus, or just Master Sealer, and then have her be a healer. And it turned out that that was a dumb choice, as she was an incredibly useful combat unit and subpar healer. She only healed, I think, 4 or 5 times throughout the entire run. So, and I will say this too randomly, but the best part about this run is that honestly the chests in this level suck, so don't take any time trying to get them. It's not really that worth it. If you need to know what they are, you can look it up on the internet, but that was it. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope this gave you a few tips, and I will catch you guys later.